Poverty did not prevent millionaire love, defying destiny. The silence was as heavy as the humiliation burning in Kate's chest. The gilded hall, filled with laughter and muffled voices, suddenly seemed to spin. The eyes of Mr. Albuquerque, the most powerful man in the city, were fixed on her like daggers. "You girl! What do you think you're doing with my son? Your presence here is an affront to decency." The words echoed, cold and cutting, while all eyes turned to the girl in the simple dress, who tried to shrink into the corner. But then, a voice she knew, that she loved, but which at that moment seemed like a battle cry. "Father, stop! She did nothing wrong!" It was Leo, Mr. Albuquerque's son, the heir, and the man who had stolen Kate's heart, defying all the rules, all expectations. What would you do if the love of your life could destroy everything, including yourself, in the name of a forbidden feeling? What would happen if fate decided to play with the lines of fortune and poverty, uniting two worlds that should never have met? This is the story of Kate and Leo, a love story that defied the impossible and changed the meaning of wealth forever. To understand the power of that moment, we need to go back a little. Kate didn't know luxury. Her world was the small shack on the outskirts of the city, where the smell of wet earth mingled with the hope of a new day. From an early age, she learned the value of every coin. Her mother, with a tired but warm smile, battled a chronic illness, and Kate, at only 18, already carried the burden of supporting the household. She sold flowers in the central square, those same flowers that, ironically, adorned the Albuquerque family's living rooms. Each petal was a piece of her soul, each sale a sigh of relief. She dreamed of being a nurse, of caring for her mother, of giving her a dignified life. But books were expensive, and time was a luxury she didn't possess. On the other side of the city, in a mansion that seemed straight out of a fairy tale, lived Leonardo Albuquerque. Leo, the heir. To the world, he had everything: beauty, intelligence, and a future mapped out in his father's company, a construction empire that he dominated the state. But behind the facade of perfection, Leo felt like a caged bird. He loved art, photography, the freedom to capture the beauty of the world. His father, however, saw these passions as mere pastimes, distractions from his destiny. Leo grew up under the shadow of gigantic expectations, a weight that suffocated him. Their meeting was by chance, one of those coincidences that destiny weaves with invisible threads. Leo, in one of his creative escapes, was photographing the vibrant life of the square, seeking truth in the streets. It was there that he saw her. Kate, with a bouquet of daisies, her face dirty with earth, but her eyes... Kate's eyes shone with a resilience he had never seen. It wasn't pity, it was admiration. He approached, not to buy flowers, but to capture that light. And Kate, accustomed to indifference, found herself facing a gaze that truly saw her. He didn't see poverty, he saw the soul. They talked for hours, sitting on a park bench under the shade of an old tree. He spoke of his stifled dreams, she of her daily struggles. Two lost souls in opposite worlds, finding refuge in each other. That was the beginning. Small stolen encounters, hidden smiles, discreet notes. A love that blossomed in secret, as delicate as Kate's daisies, and as dangerous as Leo's empire. They knew they were playing with fire, but the warmth of that feeling was the only thing that made them feel alive. But secrets, however well kept, always find a way to come to light. And Kate and Leo's secret was no exception. The discovery was brutal. Mr. Albuquerque, with his informants and his network of influence, wasted no time in uncovering the scandal his son was cultivating. The news fell like a bomb in the mansion. "Are you crazy, Leonardo? A florist from the favela? Where is your dignity? Where is our family name?" The father's voice echoed through the house, filled with fury and contempt. Leo tried to argue, to explain, but for Mr. Albuquerque, love was a bargaining chip, not a pure feeling. The father's reaction was ruthless. He not only forbade Leo from seeing Kate again, but also used his influence to crush the girl. Within days, Kate's small flower stall was closed under the pretext of irregularities. The rent for her mother's shack was exorbitantly increased, making it impossible for them to remain. And worst of all, Her mother's medical treatment, which depended on agreements with hospitals in Mr. Albuquerque's network, was mysteriously suspended. Kate saw her world crumble. Public shame, imminent misery, her mother's health at risk. She felt like a burden, a curse in Leo's life. People in the favela began to whisper, to look with suspicion. She got involved with people who were too big. She thought that she was going to pull off the coup. Kate's heart was in pieces. She locked herself in her house, tears streaming down her face, feeling the guilt crushing her. She called Leo, her voice choked with emotion, a painful decision already made. "Leo, please don't contact me anymore. This can't work. You need to forget I exist." Leo, desperate, tried to find her, but she refused to see him, sinking deeper into the darkness of despair. Mr. Albuquerque, seeing Leo's resistance, delivered the final blow. He arranged a marriage of convenience for his son with the daughter of an important politician, thus securing a new alliance for the empire. Either you marry Leonardo and take your place, or you lose everything. The company, the fortune, the name. And if you try to help that girl again, I guarantee your mother won't see the next sunset. Leo was cornered. His love for Kate, his loyalty to his mother, his own future. Everything was at stake. He felt the ground disappear beneath his feet. He who had everything now found himself with nothing, forced to choose between the love of his life and the ruin of everyone he loved. The city watched, shocked, the fall of the florist and the submission of the heir. The silence that followed was the sound of two hearts breaking into pieces, one on each side of the city, separated by an abyss of prejudice and power. Deadline was running out. The day of Leo's arranged engagement announcement was approaching. The whole city expected to see the heir surrender. But something had changed inside Leo. Kate's pain, the injustice she suffered, ignited a flame that no amount of wealth could extinguish. He realized that the real prison wasn't the mansion, but a life without truth, without love, without himself. And Kate, even wounded and humiliated, found strength she didn't know she possessed. The idea of Leo marrying another woman, of living a life of lies, was unbearable. She wasn't a victim, she was a fighter. The night before the announcement, Leo confronted his father one last time, not as the obedient son, but as a man. "Dad, I'm not going to marry the senator's daughter. I'm not going to live a life that isn't mine. I love Kate, and no matter what you do, that won't change." Mr. Albuquerque exploded, threatening to disinherit him, to take everything away from him. "Then do it," Leo retorted, with a firmness that surprised everyone, including himself. "Because the only thing I truly value you can't take away, my heart and my integrity. I choose Kate. I choose the truth. I choose myself." That same night, Kate, spurred by renewed courage, made her own move. She gathered the few neighbors and friends who still supported her, and with the help of a compassionate nurse, managed to transfer her mother to a small public hospital far from Mr. Albuquerque's influence. It was a risk, but it was freedom. The next day, the hall was packed for the engagement announcement. Mr. Albuquerque smiled, confident of his victory, but when the time came, Leo stepped onto the stage, not with his arranged bride, but alone. He looked at the crowd and, his voice choked with emotion but firm, said, "I'm not getting married today. I love Kate, and I choose to spend my life with her, no matter the consequences." A murmur swept through the hall. Mr. Albuquerque turned pale. But before he could react, the hall door opened, and there she was. Kate, not the humiliated flower girl, but a woman with her head held high, her eyes steady, radiating a dignity that eclipsed all the luxury around her. She walked to Leo, and he, descending from the stage, met her halfway. They embraced, an embrace that sealed not only love, but a decision, a future. That embrace was his declaration. Mr. Albuquerque, defeated, watched the scene, his empire crumbling under the weight of true love. Leo had lost his fortune, but he had found himself. Kate had lost her fear, and she had found her place in the world. Together they had chosen a path of uncertainties, yes, but a path of truth. Life after that day wasn't an instant fairy tale. Leo was, in fact, disinherited. He and Kate had to start from scratch. He used his photography skills to document life in the periphery, creating social projects that gave a voice to the forgotten. Kate, with Leo's help and a scholarship program, finally managed to get into nursing school, fulfilling her dream. They opened a small art gallery and a community center in Kate's neighborhood, a place where art and hope flourished. The wealth they built wasn't measured in money, but in impact, in love, in purpose. Kate and Leo's story teaches us that true love isn't about where you were born or the size of your bank account. It's about the courage to be yourself, to fight for what you believe in, and to choose the truth, even when the whole world tries to tell you you're wrong. It's about understanding that the greatest fortune anyone can have is a heart full of love and the freedom to follow their own path. They proved that love can indeed move mountains and topple empires. Not with violence, but with the silent strength of truth and human connection. If you were moved by Kate and Leo's journey, if you believe that love can overcome any barrier, then share this story. Leave a comment about what love means to you and how it has already made you challenge the impossible. Your story can inspire millions, and don't forget to subscribe for more stories that touch the soul and remind us of the unbreakable power of the human spirit. Because, in the end, we all deserve a love that makes us feel rich, no matter what the numbers say.